Hello board gamers of the world, welcome to the Curious Box. It's holiday season and as you know we have a series of interviews exclusive for the channel. Today we have Pedro Gordalina and he is behind this game, CardsLab. He's also CardsLab Countries. It's the third edition. He's also behind the publisher CardsLab, and he came to the box to tell us about this game and about his involvement with board games. Stay tuned. Hello Pedro, welcome here to the Curious Box. Let's start from the beginning. How did this happen?
Hi Pedro, thanks again for the opportunity for this interview. I'm very pleased to talk a bit more about CardsLab here with you. Regarding your question, you're talking about the born of this board game, right? How did it happen? Yeah, so it was a contest here in Portugal, where we won an award, third place, and it was a gamification ideathon, 24-hour contest where you could bring your own ideas and develop them. Basically, we've got an idea to solve a problem regarding education and the way we study and the problems we face while we are, understanding things and the way you learn. So we thought we could that way could be improved, that we could learn in a faster way, in a joyful way. So we got an idea to bring or develop a board game where you could learn in a faster way and play while you are learning.
Was this your first prototype ever?
Well, it's our first board game. We had plenty of prototypes before, but this is our first official board game, yes.
But have you created any just for fun at home? Any other board games?
Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, in fact, this idea is an old one. Because I remember that I developed some board games in the past. I don't know where I don't know, like 10 years old or something. And it was to solve the same idea. I remember that I developed some games with my friends just to learn things. And it was an idea that I, preserved in a box, to waiting to be used later on. So as this contest appeared, I decided it was the right opportunity to try it, and well, it went pretty well because we didn't have much expectations, we won a third place out of 80 teams, more or less like 500 people, and it was really cool. And then it was the kickstart for this board game.
How does your passion for board games begin?
In fact, it was with the different, how can I say, the different scope that we have right now. Right now we have, you know, like modern games that are totally different from the older games. But in fact, I played a lot Magic the Gathering, Monopoly, Risk, all those Jenga, all those games. I think we are from similar times, so you probably understand what what I say. But then nowadays we have totally different perspectives, and I think those antique games, if we say so, would hardly be launched at the present time. But this current wave of new born games called modern games are really cool. I like plenty of them. And it also was a way to learn and you know it helped us a lot to design also our board game, because if we designed it in the past, it probably would be a boring board game, because it's really hard to, you know, to join two things, to learn and to have fun, you know.
Is that your goal with your games?
Yes, in fact, this is the first one of a series of board games. The one that you showed, it's about geography. Right now, yeah, we are developing the second board game of the series, which I can't reveal. But I can reveal that will be with a major Portuguese institution, one of the biggest ones. But the idea is to have things, you know, you can have a board game regarding history, you can have a board game regarding even anatomy, for instance. I don't know, animals, plants, because it's a really scalable game. And since the mechanic is completed, now we want to reuse it on other themes and put some other spices on it, you know. But the idea is to have a set of things.
These games, how many of them are you planning?
I don't have an answer for that, because the number of themes are almost infinite. Yeah, in the next 5-10 years, I would like to have like 5-10 games launched. It would be great if we could launch one per year. We'll see what we can do about it. But yeah, it's the idea is to have different themes and to have synergies between them, you know. For instance, you can have a game with countries and other with cities, and then you can have a third game with both. More like King Domino and Queen Domino, you know. You can have a third game if you join both. So we want to use the same idea, and to have lots of things that communicate with each other. So, for instance, if you are buying 2 of our board games, you can have a third one for free.
But these games, are they supposed to be played together, or are they supposed to be played separately? I mean, with Century, you have Century, Spice Road, then you have Eastern Wonders, and then you will have the new one, and they can be played separately, and they can be played all together.
Yeah, that's the same objective. It's the same. It's our goal also.
You are creating a whole world around CardsLab.
Yeah, that's the reason why. Yeah, CardsLab is the name of the brand and the company, and then you have themes. So you have CardsLab countries, you have CardsLab, I don't know, cities, animals, art, for instance, paintings of the world. You know, that's our goal.
Isn't it hard to create something like that? I mean, to I know it's not easy to create a board game, of course, and to create many board games, all connected between each other. It should be even harder, right?
Yeah, indeed. So, well, the main goal is that you can play it alone. You should play them alone with no problems, and then you have a flavor which will be to play it with other games. And we want it's how can I say this? I'm not sure if we will be able to connect all of them, but we want to have at least one connection. For instance, countries have synergies with cities. If you launch a game about animals, you can synergize, for instance, with dinosaurs. That also can be synergized with countries because they have an origin. You know, the idea is to have at least one, how can I say, one way to connect, you know, one statistic or one part of the game that can be used to join two of them.
Do you have a favorite board game?
Yeah, that's a trick question. I would be fair, and I would say that the game that I'm playing a lot right now, it's the one I mentioned before. I'm playing a lot of King Domino and King Domino because it's a really cool game, and I like that it can be played with my family or with my friends or just 2 players or 4 players or 6 players, and it has I enjoy it a lot because you can play in a faster way if you want. You can do all the other components and do a more in-depth game. I like that also because if I play with someone who is not familiar with board games, I would play the simpler version. Then if I want to play with a person who is more likely to know about board games, then I can go to an in-depth version, which is the Queen Domino, and has all the other stuff. So I like that way to you know, to configure and to adapt to the player. And I also brought that to my board game. But I will talk about it later.
As a player, what do you look for mostly when you buy a board game?
Well, I think it's almost everything that I mentioned. So it has to be flexible. It has to be fun. It needs to be like I don't play much like heavy games, you know. I like games more like, you know, for instance, like Sushi Go or Jungle Speed or I don't know, you know, fast games, fun games. But as I mentioned before, like I like when you can put some more depth in games, and you transform like a 15-minute game on a 60-minute more depth game with more components. I like that. I like that flexibility. So yeah, it's pretty much that.
Are those kind of games that you want to create? Fast games?
Well, yeah. How can I say this? I want both. Yeah, and one of the things that that you'll notice. It's, for instance, I don't know if you saw this card in the game. So basically, I like this way to adjust the way if you want a fast game or a longer game. A fast game will be more like more fun, you know, and faster. And the other options of CardsLab will have more strategy and will be more in-depth strategy game like. So I think that's important to have that flexibility.
As it goes, you want to make the game harder to play.
I like to have different difficulty levels, and I like the game to be configurable, you know. So other thing that you'll notice that you notice in CardsLab is that you have different difficulty levels per player. So for instance, you can have at the same table one 8-year-old, an adult, and a grandmother, for instance, because the game has different difficulty levels, so that all the players are at the same level. And I think this is something that we got that you don't see on many other games. But I think it's important to bring all people to the same table and put all of them at the same level, so they don't get bored by losing all the time.
What besides the games of this series do you have any other plans for because CardsLab is now a publisher, right? We can say it like this also. Are you creating something else besides this series of games?
Not for now. So I really want to focus on this one and to have a series of themes and a series of games, because I truly believe it will help a lot of people to learn more about the world. But then, if I don't know if the objective is fulfilled, and if I see that if we achieve something like a factory, which is what I want to do. It's like a factory of themes and games, and if I can be dispensable, you know, from that factory, which is a perspective that I like. I want to be involved, but also I want to make a process where I can be dispensable and go to other projects, you know. So as soon as I have that, which will take plenty of years, I think that other person can replace me, you know, and that way I could participate on other projects. But for now, I'm 100% on this one.
CardsLab is a new publisher. It's a recent publisher, right? There are during the last, let's say, 5 years, there's been this boom of board games all around, not only in Portugal but everywhere. I think actually in Portugal it's still maybe beginning or at the beginning phase. How do you see it growing, especially in Portugal? There are new publishers. There are the publishers we knew already. And how do you see this happening in Portugal?
Yeah, in fact, I think we still are a bit small, but there's a really good path going on. We have board game cafes being built. We have new publishers. We have, I think the other ones are doing a great job, like Meeple Games, for instance, bringing games to Essence Peel and having plenty of success. That's helping a lot. But I think we still have a path, to go. If we compared ourselves to, for instance, the German market or the American one, I know those are different countries, but if we do a statistic per capita, I think we still are a bit away from them. But the fact is, as I talk to people and as the market grows, I think we have more and more people playing board games because we see that it's a way to socialize. People are. It's sad to see, for instance, a family all at cell phones. Chatting with other people, that's even strange. And I think board games are a good way to bring people together and play and learn. Why not? But I think it's as the people or Portuguese people understand that. I believe that we will have a growing market and a different perspective of board games. And we also have events like AugustaCon, LeiriaCon, RiaCon. We have plenty of events in Portugal that are growing in number, and I think that's changing.
And you especially with this series of games, you are creating. Or you are focusing more on the educational level. And as you said before, a game must be fun. That's the number one rule, I think. I think we all agree on that. Yeah. But among the publishers, the Portuguese publishers, from what I remember, I don't want to be mistaken, but you are the only one focused more on the educational level. We can also say maybe PEDRO is doing that. Do you see board games coming to because this is a big challenge to coming to classrooms soon?
Yes, and not only classrooms, but also I don't know what's the name in English, but ATLs, after school, because as I mentioned, I believe it's, how can I say it? It's not the main way to learn, but as an alternate way, because for instance, after reading a book, I think it's for instance about geography or something else. I think it's a way to consolidate, and it's a way to learn faster. And I don't see why not after an hour, 1 hour class, why not put the kids in different tables playing a game where you could use the things that you learned 1 hour ago, and to understand them better and use them in a board game, because the feedback I have of CardsLab is that people are really knowing something, understanding something after playing the game. Either is a country or a capital or a flag, and it's really cool to have that feedback, because it's our way to see things, because it's an accelerator, and in a funny way.
Do you think the educational system right now, I mean, we live different times from, for example, when we were kids. We live totally different times. And do you think it's time to bring more non-formal education to, to schools, and games are for sure part of that?
Yes. Well, if we see our that's a good question. If we see our educational system, I think it has stalled for plenty of years. So it's the same system like from 30 years ago. But I think it's changing. I think that we see now classes that don't have all the children looking at the teacher. For instance, we have some classes where the children are on round tables, looking at each other and playing as a team. And I think that's a very long path, you know. But it will happen sooner or later. The educational system will understand that we need to have classes in a different way. We need to socialize more, to learn more as a team, you know, to have more social skills. And yes, I believe that board games can help. In fact, we also have a lead with the Açores government, which is to bring the game to all to the educational system of the government of Açores. And if it runs well, I think it will be great to have to use that as a proof of concept for other for the continent of for the educational system of the continent and other classes and schools. Why not?
So I see there is plenty happening with CardsLab. I know there are many games connected to this one for the next 10 years maybe, and I see you are going also. You are spreading the word. I'm really glad the word for this game and for this kind of games is spreading all around the country, and I hope abroad also. I want to ask you what's next. I mean, I know there are many games coming. What's next? Do you have a bigger goal, or do you have some goal that you really want to accomplish over the next years?
Well, I think it's really important for us to not have only one game, because that's preventing us from reaching other markets, you know. So it's really important for us to grow fast and to have, I know, at least 4 or 5 games to become established in the market. Also, it's important for us to start translating our board games, because this one, as you see, it's highly language dependent. That's also a thing that we want to improve on our next games. We want to be less language dependent and to focus on components that don't need translation. So we want to only have translation only on our rule book. So that will help us to reach markets beyond Portugal. So yeah, the big objectives are to have language independent games and to reach other markets and to have a set of 4 or 5 themes that will be all with you know, like CardsLab countries, CardsLab civilizations, and so on.
Thanks, Pedro. Thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for bringing CardsLab to us. And I wish you a great 2019, full of accomplishments and full of success.
Thank you very much, Pedro. Thank you again for this opportunity. I think we are also doing a great job with Curious Box Games. And thank you again, and hope to see you soon, and wish you also a happy 2019.
And this was Pedro Gordalina at the Curious Box with CardsLab countries. Check it out. It just came up. It's the 3rd edition and the best one. See you at the table next to you. Don't forget, check all the other interviews. It's holiday season. We are full of them. And there will still be a few more. See you. Bye.